reclamation. But before we proceed with the presentation, I want to talk about a little bit about the community. If you can go through the next slide, please. So the community of Desert Shore is one of the communities right at in the north end of the Salton Sea area from the county of Imperial. Actually, it's the last community in Imperial County on the north. This community has approximately 600 people according to the new census, but I truly believe that the community is missing a lot of the people that responded to the census. I was actually in charge of the census in Imperial County, and I can tell you that a lot of people didn't submit the survey. So we believe there is more than 1,000 people living in the Desert Shores community. The Desert Shores community is only one of the communities of the 3 communities along the 13-mile radius of the Salton Sea area on the West Shores. It's also now the West Shore because we're not counting Bombay Beach, which is on the East Shores. There is a total, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, 6,300 people located in that area. But the reality is more than those properties. We have done cleanups, neighborhood cleanups, and we understand the community very well. But it's very spread out and has more population than you can imagine. Next slide, please. The project is known as the Channels Project, but the community itself, because I have talked to the community, they call it the fingers, because there's five little channels, so they call it the fingers channel. These shores were, which at one time they were filled with water, administered by the Salton Sea. It was actually affected and impacted by the quantification settlement agreement, which was done 20 years ago. Among other factors, the channels are almost dry, very, very tiny little water on the ground. And so the project is now dry. So the area that was connected to the Salton Sea area that was receiving water from the Salton Sea area it continues to be there, but it's no water at all being administered to the channels. Next slide, please. So the project is divided in 2 sections. Phase number 1, 2 phases, sorry. Phase number 1 includes the construction of a berm, which is right there in the picture that you can see it right in the lower corner, is to close that berm to prevent the water that is in the channels to get out of the channels, and is going to be it will be filled with water with 2 potential water pumps, one in the north end and one at the south end. And I will show you right now the pictures in which we have located the potential water pumps. The waters will provide the water, but also it will provide a continuous movement of the water, so it provides an environment for the wildlife. Next slide, please. So these are the locations of the potential water pumps. One is at the north end, as you can see on this area, and I don't know if you see my cursor, but it's in the north area, right in the corner, and the other one is in the south area. Next slide, please. And you're gonna see it from the picture. So what we did, we put it together in this 2 pictures, 2 maps, and it shows you the amount of people that is living around those channels. We counted 254 parcels in total of residents living in that community. Some of them are not actually living there. However, very interesting, we check on our property taxes, and none of them are being delinquent, which means they're having hopes that this area be restored so they can continue living in that area once the water plants are built and the whole project is completed. Today, they are currently working on the site control of these 2 locations to ensure that we have the water pumps located in those areas. Next slide, please. So the project phase number 2 will be the continuous maintenance of the project that will provide a place for the wildlife to live. Next slide, please, and this is my last slide. So the project update is the following. We currently doing a hydrologic, I'm sorry, it's a combination of hydro and a geologic report They would identify the quality of the water as well as the type of soil that we have in that area. In 2021, the Imperial County, as the lead agency for CEQA document, the CEQA clearance document, initiated the initial study for the environmental, the CEQA documents. And in 2022, beginning this year, the county also contracted with hydrologic Associates, which is the firm that is going to be providing with the study, the groundwater and the hydrologic report. And based on the report's results, the CEQA will be able to be finalized. Now, with that said, I want to mention something very important. Well, there's funding available through the Salton Sea Authority, $1.25 million from the Bureau of Reclamation. Based on my experience working with Palo Verde and other communities that has municipal water pumps 3 years ago were $500,000. So if thinking about this small community providing 2 water pumps, I don't think, honestly, based on my experience, that $1.2 million will be able to be sufficient to complete the project. And the reason behind is the following. As we do projects in Imperial County for other communities as well, we have noticed a huge increase in costs and construction costs. And it's also the short of supply, the material supply that has been impacted the projects as well, increasing the project sometimes to a 50%. So I just want to be upfront with everybody of one of the concerns that I addressed when I saw the amount of funding that was available. I'm very new to this project. I was able to get it about a month ago. And so I have small information about it, but based on my experience, I noticed that's one of the concerns that I will have. The completion of the hydrological report is expected by June 2022, and hopefully by that time we can complete the CEQA documents. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Mr. O'Dowd.
Oh,